Chapter 31 Dust Sealed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan jammed his halberd into the ground, the impact jarring his shoulder, and collapsed, panting, onto a large rock. The bluestone paving offered no resistance to the weapon's sharp point. Li Mufan sighed in relief, turning to gaze back at the dense fog, counting his lucky stars. If he hadn't known Chinese characters, if he hadn't read up on this stuff, the three of them would have been toast. But he was also puzzled. The Bagua formation was supposed to be unpredictable, but here, with a little know-how, the danger was avoidable. Besides, why were ancient Chinese characters showing up on this remote Tianhan continent? Unable to answer these questions, he eyed the path ahead and asked, "What time is it?" Xuanhuan glanced at the sky. "Master, probably around 2 in the morning, Earth time." "I'm beat. Let's rest." He took a strip of dried meat from Xuanhuan, drank some water, and studied the silent mountain trail ahead, then the fog behind them. After a long pause, he declared, "Let's head up and see what's what." It was eerily quiet, even the insects were silent. Xuanhuan caught a whiff of blood in the air, and Xuanhuan, ever watchful, noticed broken weapons half hidden in the undergrowth on either side of the path. They told Li Mufan, but this time, he wasn't interested in scavenging junk. What if leaving the path triggered something else? A few broken weapons weren't worth the risk. Trapped between the strange fog behind them and the unknown ahead, he needed answers. The trek was uneventful. They didn't see a single ghost or spectral soldier. Soon, they reached their destination, a cave entrance obscured by thick vines. Before the cave, half of an ancient Chinese character remained on a broken stone tablet. The inscription was damaged, the character illegible. Li Mufan couldn't say for sure what it was. Xuanhuan asked, "Master, should we go in?" "Yeah, we're out of options. Leave any scavenged weapons outside, just in case." "Right." Li Mufan reached out and pushed aside the green vines, feeling like he was pulling back the curtain of history. A strange excitement stirred within him, and a subtle sense of connection. Walking into the bluestone cave, he saw a faint red glow ahead, barely illuminating the darkness. Ancient murals covered the stone walls, silently telling stories from the past. Li Mufan walked quietly with the others, the dim red light revealing the scenes depicted in the murals. It seemed to be the history of a human tribe, from wearing animal skins and drinking blood, to learning to craft tools. The tribe slowly grew, forming a nation and battling beasts and other races. Picture after picture, captivating. Li Mufan felt transported back to that ancient era, where humans fought against the sky, the earth, and all other creatures, never giving up, always fighting for survival. His chest swelled with fierce pride and an unyielding spirit. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open, jolting him back to the present. The scene he was witnessing was something he'd never forget. Chapter 32, The Heroic Spirits of Our Ancestors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We found ourselves in a massive cavern inside the mountain. The walls were studded with glowing white stones, bathing the whole place in light. In the center, countless spectral soldiers stood in perfect formation. They brandished broken weapons and tattered, blood-stained banners, shouting silently as if returning from a victorious battle. Li Mufan barely had time to react before his gaze shot to the far end of the cavern. What he saw made his blood run cold. There, on a huge throne adorned with jewels, sat a skull wearing a crown. A large, milky white cylinder was set atop the crown. A short sword, glinting menacingly, was plunged into the skull's chest. A heap of black bones lay scattered beside the throne. Xuanhuan, hiding behind Xuanhuan, stared at the legions of skeletal soldiers in front of her, fear in her voice. "Master, what is all this?" No matter how tough, some things just scare a girl. Li Mufan felt a shiver crawl down his spine. He was about to say something when Xuanhuan, startled, stumbled backward and stepped on a dry bone. Crack, star, the sharp sound echoed through the cavern. All three of them froze, looking first at Xuanhuan's feet, then at the ranks of spectral soldiers. Li Mufan felt his hair stand on end, a wave of ice washing over him. The thousands of ghost soldiers were staring, their empty eyes seemed to pierce through time and space, beyond life and death, fixed on the three terrified mortals. Xuanhuan's voice trembled in his ear, Young master, we gotta get out of here." "Run." The thought flickered through Li Mufan's mind, but he dismissed it. Even if they escaped the cavern, they would still have to face that weird fog. Taking a deep breath, he clasped his hands and said in a loud, clear voice, Li Mufan, a descendant of the human race, pays his respects to your majesty. Greetings to all our ancestors. The ghost soldiers remained motionless, their gaze unwavering. He took a bold step forward. We three have stumbled into this place, disturbing the rest of our ancestors. Please forgive our intrusion. As he spoke, he walked towards the throne, having inexplicably passed right through one of the ghost soldiers, and piecing things together with the murals they'd seen, a glimmer of understanding dawned on him. These ghost soldiers weren't solid. They were just echoes, fragments of the heroic spirit left behind by ancient warriors, and they posed no real threat. Looking at the skeleton on the throne, he sighed softly and slowly knelt down. Our honored ancestors, we have inadvertently disturbed your slumber. Forgive us our trespass. Your Majesty's contributions were immense. You protected countless people in life and brought blessings to the world even after death. We, your descendants, will never forget. He changed his tone. Today, other races rise while ours declines. We face a crisis. Though I may not be worthy, I pledge to do everything in my power to drive back the barbarians. Give me the weapons, armor, and provisions, and I will lead our armies to sweep across the land, wipe away our shame, and restore the glory of our ancestors. With that, he stood up and walked towards the throne without hesitation. Suddenly, a warm breeze swept through the cavern, and the skeleton spirit dissolved into starlight. The skeleton on the throne crumbled in the warm wind and slowly vanished. Clang, star. The crown and dagger fell to the ground. Seeing this, he shook his head slightly and said to the two behind him, grab those. Let's see what else is in this cave. Chapter 33, Surprise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Loud laughter echoed from a stone chamber. Ha! An alchemy furnace? And the Xuanhuan alchemy scripture. We've hit the jackpot. Li Mufan grinned, clutching a yellowed ancient book in a person-sized pill furnace. Boss, there's another one here. Li Mufan rushed over to the voice. Xuanhuan Xiandao Ju. What's this? He flipped it open, but the ancient text was indecipherable. He shrugged, stuffed it into his coat, and decided to study it later. Xuanhuan, Xuanhuan. There's gotta be more good stuff. Do a thorough search of this place. The two responded eagerly, yes, sir. An hour later, Li Mufan stared, slack-jawed, at a mountain of pills piled in the cave's open space. Tiger wolf pills. Peiyuan pills. Holy crap, there must be 5,000 pills here. This is stuff only the elites get. This hoard was found in another stone room. There were empty shelves lining the walls, but only the pills remained. Xuanhuan, pack everything up. We're taking it all. The trip down the mountain was surprisingly smooth, as if they'd earned some kind of approval. 1 minute they were enveloped in fog, the next they were blinking in the light at the mountain's base. He glanced back at the mist and then up at the sky, where the first hint of dawn was appearing. The whole experience felt like a crazy dream. Early morning, the sun painted the land with gold. Li Mufan roused everyone after a short nap. He gestured to a pile of gourds in the open space, and announced, everyone, last night, Generals Li Chang, Xuanhuan, and Xuanhuan and I explored a cave on the East Mountain. Inside, we found a stash of elixirs left behind by our ancestors. Elixirs. Most of the soldiers were common folk, raised on basic food. The concept of elixirs was lost on them. I know a lot of you don't know what an elixir is, and frankly, I'm not gonna bore you with the details. Just know it's good stuff. The soldiers chuckled, like leader, like soldiers. Li Mufan was a penny pincher, and his men were no different. After consulting with my generals, I've decided that from now on, in addition to your 3 meals a day, you'll also take these elixirs. We'll go over the dosage later. The soldiers saluted in unison. Thank you, Your Majesty. Squad leaders, stay behind. Everyone else, dismissed. After dismissing the troops, Li Mufan led his corps members up a nearby hillside. He pointed to the camp below. "Alright, what do you guys think about the layout of this place?" They were all roughnecks. They exchanged glances before Lu Long spoke up. "Whatever you say, boss." Li Mufan rolled his eyes. He desperately needed a strategist, someone who could actually make suggestions. Xuanhuan, the south of the camp is lush with shrubs and has a water source. I want your team to designate a planting area and start growing different crops. Xuanhuan immediately replied, "Yes, sir. The southeast corner is open and secluded, perfect for training. Qiang, get your construction team started on the barracks." "Yes, sir." Chapter 34 Young Master, are you going to rob again? You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Li Mufan continued, "A show, have your men start taming the wild beasts in the jungle. We'll allocate the north side of the camp to you as grazing land." "Yes, master." A show replied, still using the old term. "Zhang Tai, you can select a spot near the mountain on the east side of the camp for a quarry. It'll be an open pit operation for now, of course." Zhang Tai responded with a hearty, "Got it." After this quick planning session, Li Mufan announced, "Alright everyone, that's the temporary layout of the camp. If no one has anything else to report, let's get to work." Several voices responded in unison. Seeing everyone head down the mountain, Lu Long murmured to Li Mufan, "Your Majesty, what about the cave?" Li Mufan gave a slight shake of his head. "That's sensitive. Tell them to keep it quiet and not to mention it again." Lu Long looked surprised. He glanced at Fan Qingyue, then nodded and hurried down the mountain. 8 days later, the elixirs began to show their effects, because the tiger wolf pill could only be taken by those who'd reached the body refining realm. Their bodies needed to be strong enough to handle the potency. Only Lu Long and the other 4 took them. You can only take the tiger wolf pill once in a lifetime, with 1 wolf pill every 7 days and 1 tiger pill every 30 days. In just a week, the 4 men had each gained the strength of a wolf. This sudden boost in power didn't result in breaking through into the next realm, but it was incredibly valuable in combat. In addition to the tiger wolf pill, everyone took the Pei Yuan pill, a foundation-strengthening blood-boosting pill. It wasn't as fast-acting as the tiger wolf pill, but it was a sustained benefit that could be taken repeatedly. After taking it, the soldiers felt more energetic and refreshed. It shouldn't be long before they break through into the body refining realm themselves. An army composed of warriors in the body refining realm? The thought was terrifying. The increase in everyone's strength greatly improved their efficiency. Under the leadership of Qiang, the construction master, the team built a 3-story barracks in just 6 days. It was made entirely of stone bricks and cement poured by Qiang, making it extremely solid. Currently, the team is stepping up the construction of the central administration building and Li Mufan's residence. At the current rate, it's believed it will be finished within a month. One day, Li Mufan was in his room, drawing up blueprints for the future city, when Fan Qingyue burst in, her face alight with excitement. "Your Majesty, General Qiang is here to report that the barracks are complete. Everyone's waiting for you to inspect them." Looking pleased, Li Mufan said in surprise, "That was fast. Let's go, take me to see it." A short time later, they arrived at the southeast corner of the camp. Looking at the barracks rising from the ground, he nodded in satisfaction. This barracks, built of hard blue and white stone, was based on the designs of PLA barracks from his previous life. It had 3 floors, each able to accommodate 100 people, with toilets, conference rooms, and other facilities readily available. "Qingyue, tell everyone we're moving into the barracks today." Fan Qingyue's face lit up. "Yes, Your Majesty." Everyone began moving and cleaning early in the morning. By noon, the soldiers were excitedly moving into their new barracks. After a quick lunch with everyone, Li Mufan wanted to get back to his blueprints, but Fan Qingyue approached him and reported, "Master, the scouts we sent out have just returned. They've mapped out the surrounding forces within a 300-mile radius of the mountain." "Good, tell me what they found." "Master, the closest force to the camp is a goblin tribe. with a population of about 1,500. A little further away is a human village with a population of about 1,000. The demon tribe and the dog-headed tribe are even farther away, with a population of over 2,000. In addition, several bandit groups are hiding in the nearby mountains, frequently raiding the area. Li Mufan was curious. Oh. I didn't expect there to be so many groups in this area. Did they find out about their fighting strength? Fan Qingyue responded, the fighting strength of the village is just the adult men. There's no organized armed force. The 4 villages often have armed conflicts over water rights. The strength of the bandits is currently unknown. After thinking for a moment, Li Mufan said, go and tell Lu Long to get the combat team ready. We're going out. Huh? Master? Are you going to raid someone again? We're still wanted men, you know. Don't worry about me, just go. Chapter 35, Elf Princess. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. About half a day later, Li Mufan and his crew of 50, dressed in regular clothes and riding tall horses, rode into the village. The villagers, seeing the group approach, figured they were bandits coming down from the hills to rob them. They frantically banged on gongs and drums, trying to organize a defense. Li Mufan, still on horseback, looked at the poorly dressed farmers and raised his hands, palms out. Hold on, folks, we're not bandits. We just want to do a little business. An old guy in the crowd yelled, we're broke. No food, no money. There's nothing for you here. Just move along. Li Mufan frowned and nodded to Lu Long, who was standing beside him. Show them. Lu Long signaled, and a soldier lugged a wooden box into the open space between the 2 groups. He opened it up to reveal a load of shiny silver coins. In Tianhan continent, silver was as good as gold. 10 silver coins were worth 1 gold coin. This box was crammed with at least 1,000 silver coins, enough to buy the whole village food for a month, easy. The villagers were practically hypnotized by the gleaming silver. The old man stammered, sirs, what is it you want? These villagers now believed these men were nothing more than horse thieves. Li Mufan said calmly, old-timer, we just want to buy some pigs and sheep. I'm not looking to rip you off. I'll give you 6 silver coins for a pig, 4 for a sheep. How's that? I'll take all you got. The villagers exchanged shocked glances. The price was better than the market rate. With that kind of money, they wouldn't have to sweat winter this year. Well, you're being generous, but we don't have that many pigs and sheep around here. Doesn't matter. Sell me what you can. And maybe you know someone who does have livestock for sale. The old man hesitated. There's a goblin tribe about 20 miles from here. They probably have some. Otherwise, you'd have to go all the way to Yunlan City. Yunlan City. Li Mufan was about to reply when he heard a burst of loud laughter in the distance. Ha! No need to travel. We're already here. He turned to see a group of squat, dark green goblins escorting a carriage. The lead goblin eyed Li Mufan's group. The humans looked like horse thieves, built strong and sturdy. He lost a little swagger until he remembered who was in the carriage, which stiffened his posture. Listen up, humans. By order of the princess, we're recruiting able-bodied men from your village to escort her home. Princess. Everyone was taken aback. The old man said in a shaky voice, Wulaoba, are you saying that Her Royal Highness is in that carriage? The goblin known as Wulaoba puffed out his chest. Duh. Old man Jiang, quit your dawdling and get your folks to line the road. You want to get punished for delaying the princess? They were in elf territory, so the princess he was talking about was naturally an elf princess. He glared at Li Mufan and the others and yelled again, and what's with this trading nonsense? I'm confiscating that silver and you're escorting the princess home, now. What are you staring at, punk? Don't you know the princess is here? I'll have your eyes for looking. Goblins were known for being ugly and weak. They were lazy and sneaky, so they were generally disliked. Still, no one could wipe them out. Now Wulaoba, riding on the elf princess's coattails, was acting like he owned the place. "You think you can take my money?" Li Mufan wasn't known for his patience. He felt a vein throbbing in his forehead. With a tight smile, he said, "Listen, runt, you think she's a real princess? Tell her to get out of the carriage and prove it, that anyone who knew him could see he was about to blow his top." "How dare you? You can't talk to me like that. Are you trying to start a war?" that the goblin screeched, sounding like a yapping dog. Before Li Mufan could lose it, a flash of cold light zipped through the air. Clang! A long arrow was deflected by Fan Qingyue. An elf, tall and handsome, with a longbow, stood in the carriage, staring coldly at Li Mufan. He was willing to kill at the slightest provocation. Xing! Every member of the combat team unsheathed their stainless steel swords. They were ready to charge at a moment's notice. The air crackled with tension. The elf man glared at Li Mufan and said, "Well, lowly human. The princess is in the carriage. What else do you have to say? I don't care what you were doing before. You're in my territory now, so you follow my rules. You will lead your men to follow our convoy. If you successfully escort the princess back to the palace, your rewards will be great." The elves, a Xian-level race, had built up their reputation for a long time. They figured yellow-level races were just slaves. When Li Mufan lowered his head and didn't say anything, the elf man began to get suspicious. "What's this? Disobeying orders? I suggest you do as you're told. The despicable humans from the Yunqin Empire dared to attack the convoy before. When the princess returns, we will mobilize our troops and wipe out Yunqin. Join us now, and you might even get your own territory in the future. Otherwise, I'll destroy you right here." Chapter 36. Where does all this nonsense come from? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you done yet? The elf seemed taken aback. "What is this crap?" Li Mufan roared, "Get M. Chop M to pieces. Kill." His soldiers thundered in response. Lu Long, Qiang, and Xuanhuan charged forward like a whirlwind. You're rebelling." Wu Lao Ba was stunned. These humans were actually fighting back. Didn't they know who they were messing with? Before he could react, Lu Long's sword sent him sprawling with a scream. Goblins were barely tougher than ordinary people. They were no match for the guards. Men and horses went down. The 50-man combat team was cutting through the goblins like butter. They were unstoppable. "How dare you challenge the might of the elves?" the elf leader bellowed, loosing 3 arrows at Li Mufan. But ding, 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 Fan Qingyue deflected them all. Fueled by the Tiger Wolf pill and Peiyuan pill, the female general's strength was off the charts. They were both at the first level of body refining, so even the best elven archer couldn't gain an advantage. In the blink of an eye, the goblins were taking a serious beating. Seeing that hundreds of goblins couldn't hold back Li Mufan's 50 guards, the elf leader yelled, "Protect the princess. Retreat!" The carriage slowly turned. Li Mufan just grinned. "Qingyue, signal flare." Whoosh! A firework exploded in the sky, forming a brilliant Ming character that lingered for a long time. The flare was a relic from an earlier era. Li Mufan had made it during his second trip to the Ring World for emergencies. He hadn't expected to use it so soon. Ming, naturally, was a combination of sun and moon. "Everyone, take them down and chase that carriage. Capture the elf princess alive," he roared, and he and Fan Qingyue spurred their horses, plunging into the fight, swords drawn. Back at the camp, Zhang Tai, shirtless and hammering away at blue and white stone, saw the firework. He recognized the Ming at once. He tossed the sledgehammer aside and roared, "The Emperor's in trouble. Grab your weapons. Mount up. Kill." On the battlefield near the village, the fight was a complete mismatch. The 3 generals were tigers among sheep. The goblins couldn't stop them, and they were getting wiped out. The guards were equally brutal. Fueled by Peiyuan pill, they were almost at the body refining realm, and armed with decent weapons. The goblins didn't stand a chance. The villagers were dumbstruck. Now that's force. One disagreement and bam. They were crushing the goblins, who outnumbered them. Were these guys even human? When did the horse thieves get so tough? In minutes, the 300 goblins were routed, fleeing in all directions. Xuanhuan, Xuanhuan. Take half the men and chase the carriage. Bring back that elf princess, alive. Yes, sir. Lu Long. Chase down the goblins, seal off the area. No one gets out. Yes, Lu Long yelled and split his troops, chasing down the stragglers and blocking escape routes. His commands were clear and efficient. Li Mufan nodded, impressed. Soon, the battle was over. He eyed the 30 or so goblins kneeling before him, then the bewildered villagers in the distance. After a moment's thought, he said, Chen Yang, take the rest of the men, get these prisoners back to the village, and guard them. Send someone to meet Zhang Tai's main force. Yes, sir. Chen Yang, the combat team's second-in-command, was a capable young man, almost as strong as Zhang Tai. And keep an eye on the villagers, too. No one wanders off. Don't worry, sir. Li Mufan nodded and called out, Lu Long, Qingyue, come with me. Let's see who this elf princess is. Chapter 37, Follow me to escort the princess back to the mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. About a half hour later, Zhang Tai and Shou rode up, leading a large group ready for a fight. Seeing the skirmish was over, Shou, after a quick chat with Chen Yang, took half the crew to link up with Li Mufan. Dozens of miles from the village, deep in the woods, a carriage was surrounded by armed men. Arrows had taken out the wheels, and 7 or 8 goblin bodies lay scattered around. Perched on the carriage, an elf held a long sword, staring at Li Mufan with a mix of hate and fear. Human. What do you want? Attacking a princess has consequences, you know. Consequences, Li Mufan chuckled. We're just country folk, not too worried about that. Princess, huh? I don't see a tiara. How dare you? You can't just demand an audience with the princess. Despite the bluster, he was clearly holding back. Ling Fei, enough. A calm female voice came from inside the carriage. A young woman in a green robe stepped out. She had snow-white skin and striking features. You'd think she was human at first glance, but her long, pointed ears gave her away. She looked pale, like she'd taken a beating. She spoke softly. Human warrior, I am the elven princess you seek. May I ask why you are chasing me? Her tone was polite, but with an edge of disdain. Li Mufan gave the elf princess the once-over, grinning. I've heard elves are supposed to be something special in the looks department. I see the rumors weren't wrong. I'd like to invite the princess to stay in our village for a few days. What do you say? The princess replied, you're joking. My people have always been good to humans. Last time, you posed as the Yiksha tribe to raid my caravan, and now you want to take me prisoner. What exactly are you after? Yiksha tribe? Aren't they a sea tribe offshoot? Why would we be pretending to be them? Li Mufan was taken aback. His mind raced as he considered the possibilities. He smirked and said. Treating humans like slaves, exploiting them, demanding tribute, that's your idea of being good? Enough talk. Lu Long, arrest them. You. Before the princess or the elf could get another word in, the soldiers swarmed them, tied them up, and threw them onto horses. Back at the village, Li Mufan and his party ran into Shou, who had arrived with reinforcements. Together, they returned to the village. In the village square, Li Mufan started issuing orders. Lu Long, your team and Zhang Tai's crew are to wipe out that goblin settlement, ASAP. Take as many prisoners as you can. Yes. Zhang Tai perked up at the mention of a fight. Chopping goblins beats chopping rocks any day. The rest of you, escort the princess's carriage back to the mountain. As he turned to leave, Lu Long whispered in his ear, Boss, the elf princess is a big deal. If word gets out, things could get complicated. Li Mufan frowned. What are you saying? Why not move the entire village back to our base? It'll keep the news from spreading, and give us some extra hands. Li Mufan looked at the thousands of villagers, who were catching their breath in the open space. He hesitated. After a moment, he nodded. It's the only way. You lead the troops. I'll handle things here. Yes. Chapter 38 Mission Accomplished, Great Harvest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Lu Long and his troops left, Li Mufan approached the village elder with a smile. Old-timer, you're a smart man. If the elves decide to retaliate, we're outta here, and you'll be left holding the bag. The old man, sweating nervously, asked, What do you mean, Your Majesty? We've got a camp up in the mountains. Why don't you bring your people and come with us? Well. The old man looked uneasy. Your Majesty, with all due respect, my people have lived in this village for generations. Asking them to move now? I doubt anyone would go for it. Unwilling, huh? Li Mufan sneered. Don't give me that, old man. You're moving today, whether you like it or not. One more word of protest, and I'll wipe you all out. That a blatant threat, pure and simple. Under Li Mufan's heavy-handed coercion, the villagers had no choice but to pack up their families and follow the royal guard back to the camp. His methods were as subtle as a stick-up. The royal guard had already moved into the barracks. The empty cabins weren't nearly enough to house thousands of villagers. As soon as Li Mufan got back, he ordered the construction of 200 more cabins to ease the squeeze. That evening, the camp was buzzing with life. The villagers gathered in small groups, chatting about the day's events and the unexpectedly good dinner they'd just eaten. With no food source established in the camp yet, Li Mufan had to dip into the soldiers' rations. This food, prepared by chefs in the ring world, was both delicious and nutritious. For the previously hungry villagers, it was like a feast fit for a king. They'd expected to be enslaved, but if every meal was like this, who cared about slavery? It was almost worth dying for. Suddenly, a rapid drumbeat echoed through the camp. After assembling the villagers, Li Mufan stood on a raised platform and announced, From now on, you're all under my protection. Now, I've got a few rules. Listen up, because if you break them, don't expect any mercy. The previously noisy crowd quieted down, and Li Mufan continued. Rule number 1, no one leaves the camp without my say-so. That the base's location was still classified, so he wasn't about to let people wander in and out. Rule number 2, starting tomorrow, you'll all be assigned jobs. I'll pay you 1 silver coin per month. But if anyone slacks off, they won't see a penny. Rule number 3. He laid down over a dozen rules to keep the villagers in line. Unfortunately, he didn't have any internal affairs experts on hand to refine the regulations. Late that night, Lu Long returned to the camp with a large group of goblin prisoners. Inside the barracks meeting room, Lu Long was giving his report. We raided the village under cover of darkness, while the goblins were asleep. I ordered men to guard all 7 exits, and we captured them all. A total of 1,300 goblins were taken prisoner. I've assigned guards. Also, the news about the elf princess hasn't spread. The other nearby villages are still in the dark. Excellent. Li Mufan was thrilled. If the elves launched a full-scale attack, they couldn't hold them off with their current forces. But if they didn't know about it, it would be much easier to manage. After a moment's thought, he addressed the core members present. Alright, everyone, tomorrow morning, split up and lead your people. Treat the civilians and captives differently, and let's pick up the pace on camp construction. Yes, Your Majesty. That they called Li Mufan young master in public, but in private, they addressed him as Your Majesty. Fan Qinghua spoke up. Your Majesty, with so many new mouths to feed, we're running low on supplies. If we only feed our soldiers and the civilians, how long can we hold out? 5 days, tops. Li Mufan nodded. Lu Long, take a show on a hunting patrol in the mountains tomorrow. Let's solve this immediate problem. Xuanhuan, start planting crops as soon as you can organize everyone. Yes, Your Majesty. The next morning, the camp construction was in full swing. With the added manpower of the civilians and captives, progress was significantly faster. The villagers were adaptable and practical. They'd listen to whoever fed them. It wouldn't be long before they considered this place their real home. As for the elf princess, Mufan had them locked up separately in 2 storage rooms in the barracks, under heavy guard, to let them cool off and knock them down a peg. 2 days later, Mufan entered the cave. The darkness enveloped him and he entered the ring world system. As soon as he entered, the notifications started piling up. Ding dong, the host has completed the first mission and received 2 follower cards. Ding dong, because the host exceeded mission requirements, the base population exceeds the mission standard by 5 times. You will receive 5 random bonus rewards. Ding dong, you receive a random reward, shipbuilding technology. Ding dong, you receive a random reward, hydroponics technology. Ding dong, you receive a random reward, follower card X2. Ding dong, you receive a random reward, item card X2. Ding dong, you receive a random reward, silver 20,000. Ding dong, please assign colonists to receive technology. Mufan was stunned by the flood of notifications, then overcome with joy. Chapter 39, Robbing the Tribe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shipbuilding tech is super practical, especially since our camp's right by the Yinsang River. We can use it to build boats and travel downriver, making life a whole lot easier. Then there's hydroponics, that's like a cheat code for growing plants fast, and let's not forget the follower cards. With the ones we got from the quest, that's 4 follower cards total. We really need more people around here, so those are going to be a big help. The item card, like the tech card, gives you a random item from the system storage. It's all about luck. You could pull out something awesome, or a pile of junk that's totally useless. Xiang gets the shipbuilding tech. I'll hang on to the hydroponics for now and think about it, Mufan said, taking a sip of his tea. System, I'm using the item card. Ding dong. Item card activated. You've received a spaceship energy core. Mufan choked and spat out his tea. An energy core? Seriously? My luck's off the charts. Spaceship energy cores are worth a fortune in the ring world. They're basically a power source that can keep a spaceship running forever. It's way beyond anything we could build in the industrial age. Right now, the 10 energy cores powering our base are ones we got by fighting off the robotic army. Ding dong. Item card activated. You've received a simple automatic machine gun turret. Alright. Today's a good day. Ding dong. Now that you're a lord, you can see everyone in your territory's loyalty rating. Ding dong. New mission, increase your territory's population to 3,000 within 90 days. Completion rewards, follower cards X2, item cards X2, technology cards X2, and 20,000 silver. Failure, erasure. Erasure again? Can I just say no? Ding dong. Insufficient authority to decline the mission. Mufan sighed. You're ruthless. By the way, how many people do I even have in my territory right now? Current population, 1,103. Just over 1,000. I thought we grabbed way more prisoners than that. Between them and the villagers, I figured we had at least 2,500. The system responded, only those with a loyalty rating above 60 count towards the territory's population. Oh. Day 4 in the ring world space, the expeditionary force had reached their destination. Mufan, in full armor with an Orion automatic rifle and a machete, hid in the dense forest, eyeing the tribe of a few hundred people in front of him. He signaled to Xuanhuan. Boom! Xuanhuan's mortar fired, sending a shell arcing through the air to land right in the middle of the tribal camp. A wooden hut instantly burst into flames. Boom boom boom! Kaishian and Aji fired the mortar again and again, setting the camp ablaze. Mufan was using incendiary rounds to force everyone out into the open. The natives screamed and scattered. Mufan yelled, "Open fire!" .4 advanced rifles blazed, and people started dropping like flies. They'd been told to take prisoners, so they were aiming for legs instead of heads, hoping to avoid any fatalities. After losing over a dozen people, the tribe fought back, firing arrows with surprising force. A commando team of around 70 or 80 natives charged with various melee weapons. These weren't just a bunch of farmers. Some of the elites had obviously undergone serious physical training. The bows and arrows were powerful, but couldn't pierce the advanced Tianzhou standard armor the colonists were wearing. Li Mufan's armor was even more resistant. The hail of bullets pouring from the forest cut down the natives. The fight lasted only 15 minutes. Over half the tribe was dead or wounded, and the survivors scattered, unable to mount any kind of defense. The technology was just too far advanced, and the individual soldiers weren't even on the same level. After chasing the fleeing tribesmen for a bit, Li Mufan called out, "Quick, tend to the wounded. Save everyone you can." His main goal was to capture people, not let them die. Half an hour later, a light rain began to fall, slowly extinguishing the flames on the huts. They rounded up the 30-odd survivors and started searching for anything of value. The tribe was dirt poor, and it showed. All they found were piles of dried meat biscuits and a small amount of herbs in the warehouse. That was it. Li Mufan stared at the pemmican in silence. System, how much silver would it cost to take one of these pemmican biscuits out of the space? Pemmican is a Stone Age item. You can remove it at its original value. One pemmican is worth 1 silver. Xuanhuan, get the animals over here. We're packing everything up and taking it with us. Also, scout around for any silver mines before we leave. Chapter 40 Winter Supplies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the 8th day, the team returned to base. Li Mufan immediately sold off all the captives with undesirable traits, along with the loot from their last battle with the hunter fleet. This brought the base's silver reserves up to 100,000, significantly easing their financial strain. He looked at the silver piled high in the warehouse and finally felt a sense of relief. 2 days later, Li Mufan's vision blurred for a moment before snapping back into focus. His consciousness returning to his body, he wasn't in the camp, but in a cave. Shrouded in fog. This was his secret base, and he'd given strict orders that no one was to approach it, except for the colonists. This time, he brought back a massive haul, tens of thousands of dried meat biscuits, thousands of winter-ready cotton quilts, and a ton of other food supplies. He also brought back 3 new colonists, hunters he'd just recruited, not the veterans from the base. There were 2 men and 1 woman, all at the body refinement realm level. One of them, Bai Yang, was at the 2nd level of body refinement, but the real prize was something else entirely, a knocking beast. In the ring world, they called it a knocking beast. In Tianjin continent, it was known as a unicorn. These spiritual beasts were incredibly rare, found only in the most remote and dangerous areas of Tianjin continent. They had long lifespans, immense strength, and were notoriously difficult to tame. This snow-white unicorn was named Takshu. Though still young, it was already at the terrifying 6th level of body refinement. Li Mufan had spent 20,000 silver to bring it out of the space. It could be used as a mount, a bodyguard, and it was undeniably cool, a triple win. Back in the ring world, he'd relied on Beast's incredible taming skills to domesticate 10 unicorns, treating them like treasures. Now, that skill was finally paying off. He rode the unicorn a few steps in the cave, enjoying the soft sensation beneath him, and laughed with satisfaction. Awesome! With this unicorn, scoring with the ladies will be a piece of cake. Maybe I'll send one to Menu someday. He trailed off, realizing he'd misspoke, and shook his head with a smile. Besides the 3 new colonists, Xuanhuan and Xuanhuan were also in the cave. All 5 of you, get to work and move all these supplies out. Because of the fog, only Li Mufan and the colonists closely associated with him could enter. Back at the camp, Lu Long and the others stared in amazement at the piles of supplies. Master, with this much food, clothes, and blankets, we're set for the winter. Li Mufan instructed, divide the food into thirds. The soldiers get the nutritious stuff, and the villagers get the regular food. What about the goblins, Master? Li Mufan paused, then said, the prisoners get dried meat biscuits, just enough to keep them alive. Prisoners who perform well get extra, and those who slack off go hungry. Yes, sir. After hesitating, Lu Long lowered his voice. Your Majesty, what about the 2 prisoners? Ah, those 2. Her Highness isn't feeling well. Give her something good to eat. As for the other one. Li Mufan pulled a small cloth bag from his pocket and whispered into Lu Long's ear. Lu Long's eyes widened, and he looked at Li Mufan, who maintained an indifferent expression, before chuckling. With this, we won't have to worry about him disobeying us. After Lu Long left, Fan Qingyue, who was nearby, asked curiously, Your Majesty, what were you and Lao Lu talking about, so secretively? Li Mufan chuckled but didn't answer. Instead, he said, Qingyue, tell the others to distribute the cotton-padded clothes and blankets, 1 set for each person. What about the prisoners? As for the prisoners, that depends on their behavior. Yes, Master. Fan Qingyue turned to leave, but Li Mufan stopped her. He gestured to the 2 men and 1 woman behind him. Qingyue, these 3 are Bai Yang, Wang Li, and Wang Hong. Like Qiang and the others, I've been training them secretly. They'll primarily be handling intelligence. Get to know them. You'll likely be working with them quite a bit in the future. Fan Qingyue nodded and greeted the 3 new colonists behind Li Mufan.